Yeah, the problem is this semicolon. I use semicolon there, it should be a comma. And now we can run this project. Yeah, we have again error. Okay, yes, in here we cannot use double quote, you have to use single quote in the H2 is data SQL. Once we run the project, it should work fine. Yes, it is running. Yes, it run. Now we can check the console. What we have to do is go to the localhost in our browser. Just type localhost 8080 and the context of database. It is showing like this. So how we can access this database is we have to use the driver class what we have used in the application.property and username and password. And what is the database? We can simply copy that from our application.property and you can test the connection, and or you can go inside the connection. If you are logging to the H2 console, you can see console like this. It has our schema called testdb and it has the student table. If we run the table, we can see the one row inserted because we use data SQL to insert the data when running the application. And next thing is we have to do is we can create a entity package. To save the data, you can call domain or entity. Here I'm creating a student class. In here you have to the data annotation for Lombok. It will create getters and setters automatically, and entity Java persistent entity you have to select. And what is the table, and you have to give a name of the table. Student, and you have to point this entity to our relevant schema. Otherwise it if you not select schema here, the table will be created outside of the testdb, like in there it will create. So preventing that, we have to use the schema name as well. And we have to define our variables or field names, and this is our primary key, so we have to use id annotation, and it is creating automatically, that means auto increment. Then we have to use generated value and our strategy. I'm using identity and the column. My column name is id and name. And we have age and country. like this. Now we created a entity class, and we can run the application and test whether it's working or not properly. So it is running, and next thing is to create a service layer. And we have to create a repository. And we have create a control layer. In here I'm creating a interface called student repository. I'm going to extend this to a JPA. It required two parameters. First one for mapping our student entities, other one is mapping to the primary key. And I'm creating a service layer now, creating a student service. So interface, and creating a implementation of student service, and next in implementing to student service. In here I'm creating a save method. Basically we can map DTO class and convert it to student entity, but here I'm not using like that. I'm using same entity class to get the data from the REST controller. And list of student I'm creating two method, one for save, one for get all the students, and I'm implementing those method to the concrete class. And I'm annotating this as a service. And another thing is we have to auto wire the repository. For that I'm using auto wire. And we can save the student here, and we can return this list of student from here. By find all method. And what we have next step is to create a controller. I'm writing it as a student controller. We have to use REST controller there. And I have to write a post mapping to save the data. Post. My mapping is students. And we have to provide the service layer here. And we can call to the save method and pass the student. In here I'm not returning anything, and the same time we can write a get mapping, and we can after that we can check the application. And using the same value to the get mapping as well, because one is post mapping, another one is a get, so it will not conflict. Now we wrote the controller. Now we can test our application. Since it started, now we can open the postman and we can write a post method to test the our application. Localhost student. Name, age, country. Now we can test the application. Since it's saved, now we can log into our H2 console and we can see what happened there. It's not saved.